Garen, I have a bone to pick.
As long as it's not with me.
It's not with you, but I'd like your thinking on this. People tend to conflate re-engagement programs with win-back programs. They are not the same thing.
Not at all.
How would you break them down?
Re-engagement, in my mind, and I think most marketers would agree here. Re-engagement is about losing the thread of connection between you and the actual customer, right? So they've stopped opening messages, they've stopped clicking on links. They maybe even haven't had a site visit in a while. They have disengaged themselves from interactions with the brand itself. Whereas win-back is more about bringing them back for an additional purchase. It might have been sometime specifically since they've purchased. They could very well be opening emails actively, even regularly, even daily. They could be clicking and going to the site and being very active in the site, but they haven't slapped any of their hard-earned money down and completed a purchase in some time. And that time frame could be dependent upon the nature of your business, the sort of rate of consumption of your product, or even the price point itself.
The new iOS 15 with mail privacy protection, and we've got AI, and with iOS 18, opens are nebulous at best.
At best.
Clicks we still have. So what?
For now.
For now, that's right. Where do you see if you're looking at like what I would call a traditional re-engagement program, which is to target folks who haven't opened or clicked in a certain amount of time. I loved your comment about the site visits, because I think that's critical too. Because how many times have you seen an email in your inbox and just went to the site? You didn't even open the email. And there's an attribution story for a different video here. What is the value of a re-engagement program in this climate?
Yeah, it's a great one. And I think it's really important. I think it's undervalued and underemphasized in many cases, especially when you think about the current state of our market. All anybody needs to start a storefront or an app is minimal investment in e-com technology, an idea, and a minimally viable product. That's it. Meaning, this is an open landscape for anyone who can gather those three basic ingredients. There's never been a time when we've been more spoiled for choice as consumers. You can think of any one brand, any one type of product or any one type of service, and there are dozens of different providers that you can choose from. So re-engagement is really critical in reminding the customer or the prospect sort of the value of your brand, the value of working together, the value of doing business together, how you're different from the rest of the seemingly similar competitive landscape, and most importantly, why that should matter to the customer themselves. So think about sort of what draws you to a particular brand. It's subjective, but these are things such as alignment of personal values with brand values, the utility, value, or convenience of the product itself, its superiority over any other, again, competitive offering. And sometimes that superiority is broken down by something no different than price. But if that's your differentiator, that's what you want to be reminding people about in these re-engagement type of messages. Whatever it is that makes you you, whatever it is that sets your brand apart, or that you hope sets your brands apart, this is what needs to be, this is the drum you need to beat within your re-engagement program.
So what I'm hearing is you would not be the type to go, hey, we miss you. Here's 35% off.
Maybe. Again, if price and discount are what it takes to bring that person back, perhaps. In fact, the best re-engagement program I ever saw was done by Bowden, a UK apparel retailer. It was powered by Movable Ink, so not necessarily something everybody has the wherewithal to do. But they did some incredible data merges that I think were wonderfully effective because they told a personal story. If somebody hadn't engaged with Bowden for, I want to say it was something like 8 to 12 weeks, they would receive this message, and it was the story, the history of your relationship and your purchases with Bowden. It might say, hi Garen, X number of days or weeks ago, and it was calculated based upon your last sort of purchase or visit, Johnny started Bowden, right? So it counted back to the date of founding. Since that time, and then it was, and you made your first purchase on, same thing, sort of X number of days later, you made your first purchase. And again, that running calculation. Yeah. And then it specifically described what that purchase was. Maybe it was a lovely yellow sweater. And then it said, since then, X number of spotty yellow packages or polka dot packages have shown up on your doorstep, again, running that calculation of the number of purchases. It's been X days or weeks since your last purchase. Again, another customized calculation, providing an additional level of personalization. Here's a small discount to remind you of what it is that we love about each other. It was something like that. And it was so wonderfully effective. It brought in an unbelievable amount of lift. It's one of those unrealistic numbers that's like in the 2,000 or even 10,000 plus percentage. But it was wonderfully effective because A, it was incredibly personalized. 2, it was very relevant. And 3, it was so emotionally evocative. And again, we say it over and over again, emotion is what drives the vast majority of the actions that we take or the decisions that we make. And they really captured that in a bottle. And it was absolutely wonderful. So sometimes a discount works, and it makes sense if you can put it in the proper context. What you don't want to necessarily do, or at least I would argue don't want to do, is just giving the discount to get them to come back. But take that discount and put it into the proper context, and now you're selling on value rather than price.
I love that. I mean, it's always when people, I mean, that's a bit more of a win-back situation here, right? And it's you're given the history, the personalization. With re-engagement, that's less about the actual purchase history.
Correct.
And more about your engagement with email.
Your interaction with the brand or with the email itself.
If you go from, you're always doing 20 to 25% off, and magically it's like, hey, it's 30% off. It's like, how deep do you have to go? Or to your point, do you flip and go almost no discount? Or you don't promote the discount and you start getting into more content. Like, these emails need to be different than what you normally send. And even though they're not quite the same thing, you can use similar strategy in how you do that, but it needs to be different because the point is what you normally send isn't standing out.
That's right.
It's not resonating. And I would also say, particularly for re-engagement, you need to factor in purchase history anyway.
Yes.
Because if that is not a factor, if you're just targeting people who have never purchased, it's easy. But if like, hey, they're not engaging with email, and you go, but they're still purchasing, then I would argue, yeah, they may not care about email, or that's not their chosen channel.
They've just changed channels, yeah.
They've just changed channels, but email probably is still working because they're going, let me go purchase now.
And now we start getting into sort of the whole purpose of email, right?
Yes.
And the expectations people should have for it. We'll save that for kind of another conversation.
That's an hour on its own.
That's an hour on its own. But for now, to summarize, this is not, win-back and re-engagement, these are not typically the sort of journeys where you pull out your typical bag of parlor tricks. These are things that should lean very heavily on feeling, emotion. Loyalty is a really good one. Value and differentiation. Those are the 3 watchwords when it comes to re-engagement and win-back campaigns.
Absolutely.